Women. What are some questions you've always wanted to ask men but were too embarrassed? Serious question. Does it or would it bother you if a girl had self-harm scars? How far along in the relationship would you want to know about or see them? This is the first time I've ever asked this before, and I honestly don't know. However, I truly want to know, because I am so curious, as this eases probably my biggest insecurity. Also, there's scars from when I was younger and I wasn't comfortable with myself. I am not still self-harming, and I don't have plans to ever continue. It was a dark part of my life that I never want to go back to. I asked the question because I've never been in a serious relationship before, so I've never had to tell a guy. I don't usually talk about them. My family is super conservative, so they don't even know, so I wasn't sure what the proper etiquette would be. To anyone with the same fear I had, most guys don't care. They care about you and your well-being. I think for us men, it wouldn't bother me from the perspective of thinking it was ugly or off-putting. The only way it might bother me is out of concern for your well-being. We all deserve to be happy and healthy. Story 2. Did your friends actually invite me, or are you just being nice to not make me feel left out? Just for context, my boyfriend brings me around his friends all the time and I always have a nice time. They're all really nice to me. I don't really take much space because I'm shy and also they don't speak the same language as me. Just saw a video of guys talking about how much they hate when their friends bring their girlfriends with them, and it got me thinking, what if they actually do hate me? Lol. I didn't mean this question to be very serious. Seems like it all depends on just being authentic and nice towards each other. I understand it's important to have guys-only time, as I also love girls-only time, so I don't have problems with that. Just wanted to hear other people's perspective. Story 3. A guy friend told me that all guys are capable of turning off their minds. Like, if you had a bad day, you could just turn that off for a moment and distract yourself pretty easily with something else. And that's why men are less likely to constantly talk about their feelings and become emotional. Now I'm wondering if there's some kind of scientific explanation for this, or if I'm just a weird human girl who just can't stop thinking. I'm jealous. To summarize what I've learned, it seems it is a learned coping mechanism most men can do, but it is not necessarily specific to men. Just more common, I think. To clarify where I come from, I personally feel more stressed when I am trying to avoid something that is on my mind. If I personally force distraction, I end up being out of it 50+% of the time and miserable all the time. My ex couldn't understand why I got pissed every time he tried to divert a serious or emotional conversation to something more uplifting. But that's just how I function. I do not speak for all women. I may just be weird. I think it's accurate. Keep your work feelings at work, your home feelings at home, and your social feelings in social settings. It helps every other aspect of your life to not bring work stress home. Story 4. If a woman was physically unappealing but really smart, funny, kind, basically ticked all the personality boxes, would you be attracted to her? Some guys I talked to said that personality goes a long way, but if they really couldn't get over her appearance and just did not find her good looking at all, they wouldn't be attracted. And the upside is every man's definition of what is good looking is different. So there is someone for everyone. Another guy friend of mine said, put it this way. I wouldn't be able to handle a chick with a bad personality no matter how good looking she is. It would drive me insane. So I guess it just depends on how physically unappealing they actually were. There are definitely some average-looking women who you would never glance at twice walking past on the street, but if you get to know them and they ticked all the boxes, they can suddenly be very attractive. But if you're extremely ugly, it's just not going to matter. But it doesn't mean you can become good friends. That said, looks are very subjective. Also, people can often do a lot to improve their looks, at least enough to suddenly have someone get attracted to them, especially in combination with a good personality. Story 5. Is it true you can't be true friends with a female friend? I have a couple best male friends and we were truly good best friends. No other feelings, but one of my friends who is male told me that there are no true friends between male and female. There's always an underlying romantic attraction. One of them said from their personal experience that men can only speak on, you obviously can be friends and friends only with a girl. He's had a couple of close female friends whom he had platonic relationships with and had no interest in dating them. But he can't say he hasn't thought about them in another way once or twice. It's just human nature. Men and women can definitely be friends with no underlying attraction. Story 6. To answer some questions I've had so far, yes, we do like to cuddle as well as hugs, just as the same as girls. Yes, it's okay when girls do the first move. Some men like me have a hard time doing the first move because of insecurities with our looks and insecurities about our abilities to keep a conversation fun. When we have to pee and poop at the same time, we just do it all sitting in the toilet. Not stand to pee, then sit to poop. We do it all in one sitting. Yes, being hit in the nuts really, really hurts. Not so much in the nut area, but the crippling hurt that climbs up to your lower abdomen that lasts for a minute or two. You're beautiful in your partner's eyes, even if you and other people think you're not. Believe me, a person's beauty is amplified exponentially when the one looking at you really loves you. We like chests in all shapes and forms. The best ones are not big or small, it's the ones that you can touch consensually. Some like chubby, some don't. I personally prefer chubby, but remember that everyone has different preferences. Story 7. A lot of guy friends in the past ended up in relationships with manipulative, emotionally cruel women. A lot of them didn't reach out in both fear of retaliation and the mistreatment they endured not being taken seriously. What can we do to help end the stigma that men can't be mistreated by other women? One of my friends said to just show that you're a reliable person, not necessarily just to guys, but in general. If you're seen as one of those trusted friends, people in general will be more likely to reach out to you. Don't be a therapist, of course. It's not your job to help them, but just be open for conversation. What really helps him is when I'm telling someone something personal in a comfortable, lightly casual setting. He doesn't like to make things bigger than they are and doesn't like it when others do that either. Remove the silent misconception of only men can be cruel from society. I know I would reach out because I can trust my immediate family with anything. But I know other men fear being told he's not actually being mistreated by her, that he's just being weak. That men can be cruel towards men, or worst of all, that he's the real one doing it. So this is another thing that needs to end. Don't feel obligated to help everyone, of course. I think that's very important. But you know what you could do to help? Clicking that like button and subscribing to my channel. Done? Now let's go back to these questions. Story 8. Is it okay to give you compliments? Like, you look really cute in that shirt, or navy is really your color, or your voice is so awesome in the mornings? When I tell my boyfriend that he really looks good that way, sometimes I feel like I'm objectifying him. Also, is it okay to compliment you without wanting to date you? Sometimes you really do look good or have a great choice of accessories, and I don't want to be complimenting you and make you feel like I'm hitting on you. My boyfriend said that saying someone looks nice, regardless of gender, it doesn't mean you objectify them. That's not objectifying. So yes, complimenting someone is okay. The second question is harder. If you compliment a male friend of yours, that's probably fine, or a colleague. But some men would think that it's a hint that you're interested in them. I'd be the minority, though. But yes, both are fine usually. Story 9. How much do looks and weight really matter in a relationship? I'm a plus-size female who's tried online dating in real life, and I always feel as though most guys look for hot people or skinny people. Is this true? For context, I'm basically the size of Rebel Wilson right now. Like, I don't look it, but I got them big thighs in the rolls. Also, what about tomboys? I got really short hair, play lots of video games, dress more male, and will gladly watch hockey. Is that a turnoff if I don't act more feminine? Like no makeup or dresses or skirts? A friend of mine said everyone has their preferences. He enjoys some bigger girls, but he does have a cutoff point where it stops looking good and starts looking off-putting, and everyone's line in the sand is going to be different. We can't help what we are attracted to, and while some guys want a thick, bit-titty goth girlfriend, some may want a skinny tomboy with B-cups. Someone closer to what average is, according to BMI. He likes curves. He can't get into super skinny women, and as for tomboys, he definitely loves a good tomboy look, and he knows he's not the only one. You just keep being you. If you like where you are body-wise, then be confident in it. You are drop-dead gorgeous to somebody, I promise you. Story 10. I have a lot. Number 1, do you use that opening in your boxers or briefs to take a leak, or do you just pull down the top of your boxers or briefs? That little opening just doesn't seem that useful. Number 2, how often do you really cry? What makes you cry? Number 3, you like cuddling after getting intimate just as much as we do, don't you? Don't lie. 4, do you ever worry about what your friends think of the attractiveness of your girlfriend or wife? Like, are you ever worried that people you know don't find her good looking or judge you for being with her? This question is obviously coming straight from my insecurities, lol. 5, someone probably has already asked you this, but is it hard or difficult to shave your nuts? 6, what makes you want to commit, be exclusive, or get married? Does it have anything to do with your partner or more of, I have to be ready within myself first? Number 7, what do women unintentionally do or say that hurts your feelings? 8, what are the big signs that a man is dangerous to be around, in y'all's opinion? Like the signs women might miss, either because we aren't around when men in our lives display them or for other reasons. 9, does it bother you if a girl is smarter, prettier, stronger, makes more money than you? And lastly, number 10, are you okay? Emotionally. I feel like most of you don't get asked this enough. If you aren't comfortable expressing your emotions so openly, is there anything we can do to make this easier for you to do this? I really worry about men's mental health, so I do want to help to make sure more conversations are being had and y'all feel confident in being able to seek help and start opening up instead of bottling it all up. We see you, and we definitely appreciate you all. Story 11. How often do men want to be hugged? Does it feel clingy if a girl offers it every now and then? This felt like a survey, and I think the conclusion is, number 1, 97% of men love it, and most of them are really starved of hugs. Number 2, 2% of men don't mind if they're offered. Number 3, 1% don't like it. Thanks to all the men out there for opening up. Girls, just shower your significant other with hugs. They love it as much as we do. For the rest, 3% just ask for their consent. Damn, dude, you didn't have to break me down like this. I don't know how many guys I speak for, but for me, being hugged by a girl you're dating or close with is like getting permission to relax and be happy. Story 12. Do most guys really talk to a bunch of girls at once, or is that over-exaggerated? Some of the answers I got are, there are a few men out there talking to a lot of women at once, and a lot of men who are lucky to be talking to one woman at a time. Men are actually notably worse at maintaining simultaneous social relationships. This is why it's a common problem for men to have dwindling friendships as they age. It's also the reason for other guys complaining that a friend suddenly disappears as soon as they get a girlfriend. If you're talking to a dude on a dating site, chances are he's messaged as many women, have caught his eye, but in most cases, that guy will hyper-focus on the conversation and potential romance with whatever girl seems to want to chat with him. It's basically a numbers game. The likelihood of me liking a specific person I've semi-randomly met and don't know, plus her liking me back, is actually really low. So I'll talk to multiple women until I actually find one who I click with, then I'll stop and switch from focusing on finding someone who I click with to actually dating the one I click with. On Tinder, absolutely. We'll talk to a bunch of girls at once. At a bar, absolutely. If I get one number and she leaves, I'll keep talking to other women. After a first date, most likely, unless I'm crazy interested in her and she reciprocates the feelings, I'll be hedging my bets. After a few dates, unlikely. If we've gone that far, I'll likely be dedicating my efforts towards her, not playing the field. Story 13. Do you or have you ever called out another guy for saying questionable or crappy things about women? How did it go? Like minds stick together and all that, so of course if you're the kind of person who'd call that behavior out, chances are you're not around as many people who behave that way. And if you behave that way, you're not around many people who'd call you out. But I've always been curious. A lot of guys pull the, I'm a feminist, I'll always confront my guy friends if they're being misogynistic card. But it's hard to tell how many are serious and how many are trying to get approval from women. Lol. Story 14. What does being a man mean to you? Do y'all feel the social pressure of men need to provide for the whole family? For background purposes, I only had one positive male influence in my family, and I'm learning so much about men with my current partner. Some things are disheartening to hear, but sometimes I think it's just my partner's insecurities and cultural background blinding him to feel like a man in ways that confuse me. I do feel embarrassed asking these questions to friends and family members. As a female with an amazing man, I always wanted to be that pillow and comfort for my partner because I know life can be tough, regardless of gender. But I wanted to understand my partner more. He can be a closed book sometimes. And see if there's anything I can help him with emotionally, since he has a lot going on as head of household for his entire family. After so many years where I was not allowed to show emotions with my parents, cry, complain, anger, I think I took for granted that I can be emotional at any time in my life. The males who are emotional or unstable at any age are socially deemed weak or unmanly. Regardless, y'all are still humans. Anyway, this was very therapeutic and helpful for me. Story 15. After about 20 years of being mildly confused or judgy about it, I finally asked a good friend, what the heck is up with shaking it after you take a whiz? Can't you just use toilet paper? I didn't expect any kind of reasonable answer, but I was wrong. He patiently explained that it's like a garden hose after you turn off the tap. There's still water left in the hose itself. If you move the hose, the water will fall out by gravity, but their hose is so narrow, gravity generally won't do it. And toilet paper won't get it all, so they actually have to shake it. To my surprise, that totally makes sense. Story 16. I want to know what it's truly like for boys to go through puberty. Like, what did you hate the most? What bothered you the most? The fact that nuts drop blows my mind. Is that not scary? Is it uncomfortable? I never actually learned what puberty for boys was like, and now I understand nuts don't really drop. Thank you for not thinking I'm incredibly stupid. We didn't have the birds and the bees talk where I'm from, so I learned absolutely nothing about what happens for guys. I think it's so weird how boys and girls each go through this event and have such different but similar experiences. Plus to think we all made fun of each other for our bodies changing as if it wasn't happening to all of us. I used to have this idea that boys didn't go through as much or that they had it easy, which I think stemmed from teenage anger over the fact I used to have a period and boys didn't. Obviously I'm wrong, and puberty kinda sucked for all of us. Story 17. Do you guys look at your girl when she's around children or babies and think, wow, she's so cute and would be a great mom? Like us women think about you guys in that situation? And do you guys really think about marriage or getting engaged when you've been in a relationship for over a year, thinking about how this could be my wife or a terrible breakup? The second question, I'm not asking for myself or advice or anything else. It's more of just a question, and the timelines can obviously be changed for anyone. I know it can be a lot shorter or a lot longer than 1 year together. I'm also asking, do you think about getting engaged or married without the girls, nudging or talking about it first? Story 18. How bad does a tummy turn you off? I used to have a flat tummy, but after having my son 2 years ago and working out like crazy and back to my previous weight, I just can't lose the fupa no matter what I do. And honestly, I'm super self-conscious. If it matters, then you shouldn't be messing around with that guy. Story 19. It is not an embarrassing question, I just can't understand how men think, and I really need to know. What did men expect if they sent mixed signals? I mean, what is true? Your words or your doing? I have this two-person in my life and I swear it will get crazy. Like the one who never behaves as he speaks and the other never says anything but his behavior shows much carrying. If I tell the first one, you always say you care but you never show me that. This person gets upset because he has been honest all the time. But as I mentioned, he doesn't behave like it, and I feel guilty for saying he's a liar. And the other person is always there if I need comfort, but never said he likes me, so I don't know how to behave around him. So what is true and what isn't? Story 20. Do guys tell their girlfriends that they look better without makeup, hoping that they don't get as much male attention? Because guys always say that they prefer less or none, that it's not attractive but always check out or go after girls that wear a lot of it. One of the answers I got was most guys don't like anyone wearing makeup. Not wearing makeup won't stop other dudes from thinking you are attractive. They really only find makeup cool as a tool for costumes or cosplay. If they're dating someone, they will routinely tell them they look better without it. Everyone honestly looks better without it. If you might suspect there are ulterior motives over the whole makeup debate, he said there are two things he hates about it. Lipstick is annoying when making out and he doesn't want to have the responsibility of not messing up a significant other's makeup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy. Women, what's the most crazy girlfriend thing you've ever done? Story 5 was bonkers. See you in that video.